that was Disciples, where we have just had a game against Fulham and we were so disappointed. We lost 2-1. Where do I start? Disillusioned, disappointed. Just a few words I would use to keep it PG, put it that way. So the roundup, okay, we were 6th place versus 12th place. Didn't matter today. I said at the start of the game, it does not matter what position your opponent is in. If you do not turn up on the day, it does not matter. You will lose the game. And that's what happened today against Fulham. Didn't turn up. Our unbeaten streak from 2024, gone, done, finished. About maybe it's a bit of a wake-up call for our team. Let's put it that way. We're talking about putting pressure on Spurs and Villa. Villa have just won today. We've lost today, a game that we should never have lost. And now we've got, obviously, Spurs playing tomorrow to have that chance to widen that gap against us, you know. Start of the game, a bit of a shock one. Forsen started the game today at right wing. I'm not... You know, I imagine he must have been impressive in training. I imagine he must have been, but the manager decided to give the youngster a chance, put him out in the game. You know, and he's. I mean, at the end of the day, he's part of that Youth Cup winning team from 2 years ago, along with like Main and Garnacho. So, I suppose it's a promising thing that a youngster got given an opportunity. I don't know. It was a bit naive from Erik ten Hag today to think that he could just slot into the Premier League. But clearly he must have seen something in training that we haven't seen. We started off, I would say, to be honest with you, we didn't get out of first gear. It took us ages to start into this game. First 10 minutes we looked shaky, we were giving the ball away, misplaced passes, mistimed tackles. We just didn't look like we were there today. So it was a really slow start. And the first chance really came for Garnacho about the 26th minute, where he got his first real chance, and he had beaten the keeper, but Robinson cleared off the line. Really well done by Robinson there. And then Maguire tried to swing at it and just blasted it into the skyline. In terms of after that, what we had was Dalot hit the post in the 30th minute, but then immediately, as was the game, Fulham came back at us, and Muniz hit the post himself, and he literally muscled Lindelof off the ball to get goal side of him and just smacked in and hit the post. Probably should have done better, probably should have gone 1-0 down at that point, but that's what happened there. And then it just seemed to be, again, a couple good saves from Onana, shot from Pereira, for example, ex-Man United player who's joined Fulham. But it was just seemed like we were in first gear the whole first half, never stepping it up, never really ramping up our energy. We just seemed real nonchalant during the first half, like as if we didn't actually want to be there, or as if we thought, you know, we could coast this game and it'll be fine and we win it, and it caught us in the ass by the end of the game. But again, nobody in the box for crosses. The amount of crosses that came into that box, and just nobody was there. And you could see today that we were hurting not having Højlund there. Big miss today. But yeah. Moving on for that, in the second half, in the first few minutes, Casemiro had a clash of heads, subbed off with a cut off the top of the head. He was bleeding down the side of his face and everything, so you could see that he had to come off. And at that point, I think the manager had seen enough and then subbed in Eriksen and McTominay, pushed Fernandes to the right, went to a more traditional sort of formation that he's played this year. But what kept happening at this point was Diego Dalot kept coming into midfield. We kept going back to a back three with Lindelof, Maguire and Varane, and almost going to a 3-5-2 formation, but it wasn't working. It just didn't have any impact. We didn't gain control of midfield. All that was happening is we were leaving the wings exposed, and we were getting caught out down the right side, caught out down the left side because our defenders were out of position. And then we got a goal from, a scrappy goal, should I say, from Uchalumba. I probably butchered that name, I'm not going to lie to you. Took a shot, the ball deflected off someone, fell to him, got a second shot, scored a goal. So it was quite a scrappy goal. And it took till the 65th minute and conceding a goal for us to even show any set of balls and actually get back into this game. It just felt like we thought we were going to snatch a goal and that would have been enough because it's 3 points. There was just no emphasis whatsoever, no urgency, nothing. It just, I don't know, it was really disappointing. And then we sort of whimpered till about the 80th minute. We showed a couple signs, whimpered a bit harsh maybe, but we showed a couple signs that we were trying to get back in the game. but it was almost like a murmur, like, oh, we'll give it a shot, see what happens. And then Ahmad came on and Mainu came off in the 80th minute. And I think that sort of changed because we changed back to having two wide wingers outside and we pushed Bruno back to the middle. And then all of a sudden we had Ahmad trying to attack players down the right side, Garnacho trying to attack players down the left, and we woke up. Okay. From that point on, what we did see was we got a lucky goal. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a good shot, good save from the keeper. And Maguire, who had actually had a decent game, I'm not going to lie, was first onto the rebound, smashed it into the back of the net. So well done to him. And we pushed on because it was 9 minutes of extra time. We pushed on, tried to get that final goal. But it was just one of those where we got caught on the counter-attack down the left side again. And I think Maguire's yellow card had a part to play in this because he had a yellow card earlier in the game. So Ahmad Diallo, Ahmad Traore, who I was surprised to see on the Fulham bench. Like, that guy used to be a couple of years ago was incredible for Wolves, but came on, sprinted past everybody, and I think Maguire almost went to do the tactical foul, but then realised he had a yellow card, so he pulled back and didn't make the tactical foul, which then meant that he was out on a break, and we just looked disorganised defensively, got caught on the counter. Iwobi smacked it into the bottom left-hand corner. Onana wrong-footed again. Didn't even dive for it again, which is a reoccurring thing with Onana. Though. Every time he thinks he's not going to get there, he doesn't dive for it. He doesn't move. And again, watch the ball go back into the back of the net, which is really disappointing. In terms of just a few stats, possession, we had 57% possession, which means absolutely nothing if you're not doing something with it. It means nothing. Keeping the ball means absolutely nothing. You got to push the ball forward. You got to create chances. You got to do all of that. But it just seemed like, and it's not like we didn't create chances. We were just lethargic with the way that we were creating chances. You know, it just seemed like we weren't sure on what we wanted to do today. Almost like it was one of those situations where we just weren't ready to go the extra mile to go forward, you know, and to score the goal. We had 21 shots, 9 on target. A lot of those were from outside the box, nothing really inside the box. The Maguire one was inside the box, which was a goal. The rest were long-range shots. I don't know why we're taking so many long-range shots. We should be trying to get that ball into the box. Fulham had 17 shots in response and 5 shots were on target. Got 2 goals. Now, what I would say is that not having that central striker who is the focus point cost us today. And what I mean by that is I still feel if we had played McTominay up front, we would have had more of a presence in the box, which is what we needed today. But moving on to the formations and to the team. So this is the team that I said that I would have started with. So there was minimal change to what I'd been playing previously. So the only change I would have made is I would have kept Rashford on the left. He played up front today. He played atrocious up front. But I would have started McTominay a bit more with presence, a bit more physical. And let's be honest, it's not like McTominay can play in midfield and show any sort of level of pressing or any sort of level of enthusiasm or anything like that. He just sort of coast along with the game. This is what I predicted Eric Ten Hag would make, which was Rashford up front, switch McTominay back to the left, switch Garnacho to the left and push Bruno to the right, which happened at some point during the game. This is what he actually went with, which is, the surprise was he obviously started Fosun at the right wing and he pushed Rashford up front. Now, we're going to go into individual player ratings. I'm going to talk about that a little bit and talk a little bit about the team a little bit further down the line. In terms of goalkeeper, I've gone with Onana. Gave him a 5.5. I thought he had an okay save, okay game. He made a couple good saves. Still conceded 2. I feel like that second one he still could have done better. He could have at least dive for it, man. Even if you know you're not going to get to it, just dive. Because there's nothing more that infuriates me than seeing a keeper stand still with his feet glued to the ground, watch the ball go into the back of the net. Dive for the ball, man. Okay, even if you're not going to get there, you don't know. You never know. You know what I mean? At least you're showing some effort. Left back, okay, I've given Lindelof a 5.5. It was okay game. Got caught out for the last goal down the left-hand side, like I said, by Traore. And I think it was one of those situations where he looked, just before that, not even 30 seconds before that, he was off the pitch and he looked to be limping. And as he was limping, I thought, oh no, we're going to get caught down this side. I literally had that thought. And to the point where he came down the right wing for Fulham, our left side, and just got outrun. And there was nothing he could do to keep up with him. Couldn't even do a tactical foul at that point. Maguire could have, but he would have got a red card. And yeah, moving on the right wing, I've got Dalot, and I've given him a 5 out of 10. He had a good shot in the first half, hit the post, but what's he doing coming into midfield, man? I don't know if that was an Eric Ten Hag decision to tactically switch to a 3-5-2 or what it was, but it just didn't work, and you nullified all the threat that Dalot has, which is out wide on the wing and making those crosses and taking those shots by cutting in. He just wasn't in the game today. You completely took him out of the game. So I don't know if it was an Eric Ten Hag decision or if it was a Dalot just roaming in, but it did not work, and that needs to be evaluated for the next game. Varane, I've given him 5.5. Didn't really have much to do. Nothing really, not really involved in the game, to be honest with you. Maybe could have done better in the first goal, but I feel that's a bit harsh. It was a scramble and it just happened to fall to a Fulham player. Maguire, alongside him, I've given him a 6.5. I actually thought Maguire played okay today. In the first half, he was the one trying to push the defence up, trying to play long passes. And fine, it's long ball football, it's not football we want to see, but at least he was trying something and not just playing the ball side to side. Got a yellow card early on for attack on Lucic, which, it was a yellow card. It came just above the ankle height, and got his leg, He got the goal, the one to make it 1-1, which, at that point there was a bit of hope. We thought, maybe something. Shoot, I would have taken in the 1-1 draw at that point. But then he got beat down the left wing again. But I think the booking from the first half, like I said earlier, really played on his mind at that point. Because I reckon if Maguire doesn't have a yellow card, he's taking him down. He's not thinking about it twice. In front of them, we had Casemiro subbed off just after the half because he had a cut on the top of the head. From the clash of heads that he had. I've given him a 5.5. He did okay in the first half, but nothing special. Alongside him, Mainu, I think it was one of Mainu's more disappointing games. I wouldn't say disappointing, he just, again, he wasn't in the game. I saw him dispossessed in the first couple minutes, which is the first time I've seen him be dispossessed since he's been starting for us. And then I saw him give away a couple of poor passes, and I've not seen that from Mainu yet. So it was one of his worst games. So I've given him a 5.5 on this one. And then he got subbed off for Diallo on the 80th minute. Bruno, I've given him a 5.5. I don't understand why it takes us being a goal down, get to the last 20 minutes of the game for you to wake up and actually start playing. I don't understand. I really don't. And it's not just him. It was quite a few players. But I've given him a 5.5. It was too little too late, in my opinion. Garnacho, I've given him a 6. I mean, Garnacho actually started okay. He looked dangerous, was actually taking on players, had a few good shots, He was the only player that really looked like he was trying to take wing backs on, which we need at both sides. Otherwise, they just double team Garnacho, which is what ended up happening. And he was the one player that looked dangerous from our attacking line. Just again, no end product. He had that one shot where it was cleared by Robinson, was it? Yeah, where he beat the keeper. He took the shot, it had beaten the keeper, and then Robinson headed it away. So well done to him for that. On another day, that would have been a goal and would have changed the whole outlook of the game. Then on the opposite side, I hope this isn't harsh, but I give Fosun a 5 out of 10. There were little spurts where he showed that there's talent there. Remember one specific attack where he played 1-2s with like 3 or 4 different players and kept it going, but then he passed the ball and gave it away. He just looked out of place and as if tactically he didn't know where he was supposed to be, which meant he was getting in the way of other people. He looked uncomfortable to take players on, would stop, turn back and pass the ball back. And I was really excited. I was hoping to see him sort of take players on. I'd heard about him and that he likes to take people on. But there was none of that really today. He was almost intimidated by the environment and by the occasion. So I've given him a 5 out of 10. Up front, we had Rashford. I thought Rashford was atrocious today. I've given him a 4.5 out of 10. There was no intensity whatsoever, no closing down. He looked like he was moaning every time that he had to run. And this was in the first half and in the second half. And I'm going to be honest with you, at this stage, if Rashford is looking to leave at the end of the season, he's doing a good job at making sure that we sell him. I just don't understand where his work ethic has gone, you know. And granted, he never was the player that did chase down all the time. But at least show some effort, man. You know what I mean? Not just when you get the ball and run, like off the ball. I want to see more from you. You're supposed to be our talisman. You're supposed to be the man at Man United. And right now, I can tell you what, like, genuinely, I don't know what it was and what it is with him at the moment. It's hit or miss. One game he's okay, next game he's crap, and he's not having a great season. I know that, and I don't want to be harsh on him, but where is that heart? You came through our academy. You're supposed to die for that badge, and there's none of that going on right now. So poor game from Rashford. Subs wise, we had Eriksen, McTominay, we had Diallo, and we had Anthony. Eriksen, McTominay came on at the half. Look, Eriksen looked okay in terms of spreading the ball around, but just defensively he leaves us vulnerable. McTominay shows no intensity whatsoever in the midfield, so that's why I'm saying shove him up front. Shove him up front. At least he's the threat in the box. You know what I mean? He can score a goal for you. He's proved that this year already. But it's one of those situations where I kind of want to see more from McTominay. I like to see him up front. I like to see what happens, especially when we've not got Rasmus. You know, Diallo actually looked okay. Diallo came on, actually tried to attack players. Wasn't very successful with his attacking, but he upped the intensity on the right wing. You know, whereas at that point it just looked like everyone was walking around nonchalant, not really wanting to be there. And Anthony, I don't know what he's done to piss off the manager, but Jesus Christ, he got subbed on the last minute of extra time. And that was just because we had an injury. So I'm not sure what Anthony has done to lose the manager's faith. It must be something behind the scenes, but it just did not look like he was in the favour of manager. That sounded like a robot and didn't make sense. He did not look like he was someone that was in favour with the manager. He looks like someone that is going to be riding the bench for the foreseeable future. Put it that way. I predicted 3-1 to Man United. I actually approached this quite positively, thinking that we would actually get a decent result. I thought even without Rasmus, we should still be able to beat Fulham. Boy, was I wrong. Our final score was 2-1 to Fulham. I said at the start I had different focuses. Like, for example, I said that my big concern was intensity levels up front. I did say that missing Rasmus would cause us to have a dramatic drop in terms of how we press on the front line. And do you know what? That's exactly what happened. There was no intensity from Rashford. Fosun looked like he was nervous, looked out of place almost. The only attacking player that I saw actually trying to take on players was Garnacho. And it looked like an absolute mess. It looked like there was no urgency. It looked like there was no... almost like they didn't realise that this was a game that we needed to win to catch up to teams above us to get into Champions League spot. We talked about midfield stability as our second point. But we looked like deers in headlights here, chasing around. You know, it didn't look like... it didn't look like we were there in Old Trafford playing at home and we were the Manchester United. You could have flipped it and told me that Fulham were Manchester United, and I would have just as easily believed you. And yes, we had more possession than them, but possession means nothing if you don't do something with the ball. We slowed the game down too much. We passed it from side to side instead of trying to go forward. We had Diego Dalot coming into midfield instead of sticking out on the wing, so I'm not sure what happened there. Instead of going with a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, which we normally play, we were playing a 3-5-2 where we had a wing-back playing at centre mid. It doesn't work. All you did there was nullify Dalot's threat, and all you did was basically cancel out one of our wings, which was the right wing. And you could see that as the game went on, and it really did cost us. And then the third thing was keep control, stay calm, you know. And I said, It's Old Trafford. We should be controlling games. We should be attacking a lot more than the opponent. Yes, we had more shots from them, but all the shots were from a long distance. They weren't actually shots where they looked dangerous or we looked like we were going to score goals at any point. We had a few that we could have got a goal. Garnacho one sticks out in my mind, which was cleared off, cleared away. We had a couple of those, but it just wasn't enough. We didn't look like a team that is trying to chase Champions League and play against the big teams. That's what it felt like today. It felt like a team that was nonchalant and thought they were going to win no matter what happened in the game. And again, that's reflected by, like I said before, the attitudes by players like, for example, Rashford, who looked like he was walking around the whole game. Final thoughts? No heart from certain players. Really disappointing to watch. Really disappointing to see that it was almost like we felt we were better than them. And boy, were we punished for that. There was no pressing. There was no intensity. I did say that, they would play a low block. I said that in the preview. I said that they would hit us on the counter-attack, which is what they did exactly for the second goal. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just a very frustrated Manchester United fan at the moment. We've lost ground on our competitors fighting for that 4th place Champions League spot, because I said before we cannot rely on 5th place. Yes, it's likely that 5th place will get us into Champions League this year, but we cannot rely on that. We must be getting into the top 4. Besides, I've got a bet with someone about Man United finishing above Spurs, so the last thing I want to do is finish below, otherwise I'm in trouble next year, I'm not going to lie to you. So, frustrating, disappointed, just generally pissed off is how I feel as a Man United fan. And I would definitely be looking at this game and making the players watch their individual efforts out there on the pitch. Guys, wish I could sit here and tell you that we had a great game, but we didn't. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. Very disappointed Man United fan over here. But hey ho, there's always next week.